The sun was hot and harsh on the surface of the scrap world known as Tiran 9. Rusted metal, broken machines, and old robot parts were scattered everywhere. Nothing lived here, except for scavengers like Leo. Leo was a human in his late 20s. He wore a long coat, heavy boots, and carried a scanning tool that helped him find rare tech. Life on Tiran 9 was tough, but Leo had gotten used to it. He worked alone, talked little, and trusted no one. Most people in the colonies only cared about credits and survival. One afternoon, while digging through a pile of twisted metal near an old junk freighter, Leo heard something strange, a soft sound, like a cough or a whisper. He paused. The wind had been strong earlier, but now it was quiet. He heard it again. A small groan. It came from beneath a large metal sheet. Carefully, Leo moved the sheet aside. What he saw made him freeze. There was a girl under the metal, covered in dirt and cuts. Her skin was light gray-blue with soft purple tones, and her short hair looked messy and full of wires and dust. She looked like a teenager, maybe 16 or 17 in human years. Her clothes were torn, and one of her arms had metal pieces, connected to the skin like implants. She opened her eyes slowly. They were sharp, bright green, and full of fear. "Don't touch me," she said weakly, her voice raspy. Leo held up his hands. "Easy. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just a scavenger." "Go away," she said, trying to sit up, but her body shook and she fell back down. "You're hurt," Leo said. "You won't last long out here." "I don't need help from a human," she snapped, but her words didn't have much power. Leo looked around. He didn't see anyone else nearby. This place was far from the main colonies, and no one would come here unless they were hiding or dumped. He pulled out a small water bottle and offered it to her. She stared at it suspiciously, then slowly took it and drank. "What's your name?" he asked. She looked away. "None of your business." "Fine, you don't have to tell me. But I'm not leaving you here." "Why not?" Leo paused. He didn't have a good answer. Maybe it was because she reminded him of someone. Maybe it was just the right thing to do. Or maybe deep down he was tired of pretending not to care. "There's enough room on my truck," he said. "You'll be safe for now. You can leave later if you want." The girl didn't respond. Gently, Leo helped her up and carried her to his hover truck parked nearby. She didn't resist, but her eyes stayed open, watching everything. She didn't trust him. Not yet. As they drove away, Leo glanced at her. She sat quietly, wrapped in an old blanket, staring out at the endless fields of scrap. "You got a name for me to call you?" he asked again. She looked at him, and for the first time, her voice was softer. "Kara." "All right, Kara. Let's get you somewhere safe." But just as they reached the outer edge of the junkyard, Leo's scanner beeped. Multiple signals were approaching fast. Kara's eyes widened. "They found me." Leo tightened his grip on the controls. He didn't know who they were, but he had a feeling things were about to get a lot more dangerous. The sound of engines grew louder behind them. Leo didn't need to ask questions. Whoever was coming wasn't friendly. He pushed the hover truck faster, dust and metal pieces flying behind them as they sped away from the junkyard. Kara sat beside him, gripping the seat tightly. Her eyes were full of fear, but also something else, anger. "Who are they?" Leo asked, watching the radar. "Scrappers," Kara said. "They were paid to catch me." "Why? You some kind of criminal?" She shook her head. "No, but they think I belong to them. Like I'm property." Leo didn't like the sound of that. He glanced at her arm, where wires and metal were fused into the skin. It looked like high-tech military work, not something you'd see on a normal civilian. But Kara was just a teenager. What had she been through? The radar beeped again, 2 vehicles closing in fast. "We'll have to lose them in the canyon," Leo said. He turned sharply, heading toward a narrow rocky pass called Dustbite Gorge. It was risky. The path was filled with sharp turns and falling rocks, but Leo knew the area well. He hoped the scrappers didn't. As they entered the gorge, the sound of the enemy vehicles grew closer. Kara looked back and saw 2 hover bikes, each with an armored figure holding plasma rifles. "They're armed," she said. "I noticed," Leo muttered, keeping one hand on the wheel and the other on a lever near the dash. He pulled it. A hidden flap opened at the back of the truck, releasing a stream of scrap and oil. The bike slipped, one of them crashing into a boulder. The second stayed on them, dodging the mess. Kara leaned out the window. "Let me handle it." "What are you doing?" Leo shouted. But before he could stop her, Kara focused her eyes on the bike. Her pupils changed shape, and a faint hum came from her implants. A pulse of energy shot from her hand and struck the bike's engine. It sparked wildly, then exploded, sending the rider flying. Leo stared in disbelief. "How did you do that?" Kara leaned back in, breathing hard. "Part of the experiment." "What kind of experiment were you in?" Kara looked away. "I'll tell you later." They drove in silence for a while until they reached a small hidden cave Leo used as a shelter. He parked the truck and helped Kara inside. She was shaking, not from fear but exhaustion. "You shouldn't have used that much power," Leo said. "I had to," she whispered. "If they took me, I'd never get out again." Leo gave her a thermal blanket and some food. She sat on the ground, eating slowly. "I didn't expect a human to help me," she said. "Most would have sold me for credits." "I'm not most," Leo replied simply. Kara looked at him with curious eyes. "Why are you helping me? You don't even know me." "I don't need to know everything to see you needed saving." She stared at him for a moment, then nodded. Leo sat nearby, checking the radar for more signs of movement. All clear, for now Kara rested her head against the wall. "You're different, Leo. I didn't think humans could be kind." Leo looked at her, surprised by her words. "We're full of surprises." Outside, the wind howled through the canyon and the stars began to shine over the scrapyard world. Inside the cave, Kara finally closed her eyes. But Leo didn't sleep. He knew this wasn't over. Whoever created Kara would come again. And next time, they might not just send scrappers. Leo's workshop sat on top of a rocky hill, surrounded by rusted towers and metal junk. It looked like a pile of trash from the outside, but inside, it was filled with working machines, tools, and half-finished inventions. Leo had built this place by himself over the years. It was quiet, safe, and hidden from scanners. He parked the hover truck inside and helped Kara down. She was still weak from using her energy in the canyon. "This place is strange," Kara said, looking around. "It smells like oil and fire." "It's home," Leo said. "Not fancy, but it keeps people out." Kara touched a small robot, arm on the wall. It twitched and buzzed. She smiled a little. "You build all this?" "Yeah," Leo said, taking off his jacket. "I fix old things. Machines, bots, drones, whatever I can sell." Kara walked slowly, exploring the workshop. She picked up a broken drone and turned it over in her hands. After a few seconds, she opened its control panel, moved a few wires, and tapped a button. The drone lit up. Leo stared. "You just fixed that in 10 seconds. Kara shrugged. "It's simple. I've seen more complex designs." Leo sat down and watched her. "You were part of a program, weren't you? A military one?" Kara didn't answer right away. She put the drone back and sat across from him. "They took me when I was a child," she said softly. "I don't remember my real home. They called me Subject K7. I was trained to learn fast, think faster, and do what they told me." Leo frowned. "Sounds like they treated you like a tool." "They did," Kara said. "But I didn't want to be a weapon, so I escaped." "Why the junkyard?" "They chased me. I crashed a transport ship and crawled into that pile of scrap to hide." Leo nodded slowly. "You were lucky I found you?" Kara smiled faintly. "Or maybe unlucky. You're a strange human." "I get that a lot," Leo replied. The scanner on the wall blinked. Leo checked it. No new signals. They were safe. For now. He walked over to a small stove and heated some food. Kara's stomach growled, and he handed her a warm metal cup. "It's just soup," he said, "but it's better than dry ration bars." She sipped it carefully, then smiled. "It's good." Leo leaned back and looked at her again. "You're not just smart. You're built differently. What else can you do?" Kara hesitated, then held out her hand. A soft hum filled the air, and the broken metal pieces on the table floated slightly. "Low-level magnet control," she said. "There's more. But if I use too much energy, I crash, like last time." "You've got to be careful," Leo said. "Whoever made you will want you back, and next time they won't send just scrappers." Kara's eyes grew hard. "Then I'll fight." Leo admired her spirit, but he also knew she was still a kid. Strong or not, she needed help. She needed time to grow. And right now, she needed protection. He stood and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. "You can stay here," he said, "as long as you want. We'll figure things out." Kara looked down at her soup, then back at him. "Thank you, Leo. I'm not used to people like you." Leo smiled a little. "Like I said, humans are full of surprises." Outside, a cold wind moved across the junk fields, but inside the workshop, warmth and quiet filled the air. For now. The next morning started quiet. Leo was fixing a small engine part while Kara sat nearby working on a broken communication panel. She had been more relaxed since they arrived, even smiling a little now and then. But peace doesn't last long, on a planet like Tyron 9. The warning light blinked on Leo's scanner. A red dot appeared on the screen, then another. 2 unknown ships were entering the valley. Leo stood up fast. "We've got company." Kara's eyes widened. "They found us again?" "Maybe not scrappers this time. These ships are heavier. Could be bounty hunters." Kara stood and moved to the control panel. "We can't let them scan the place. They'll know I'm here." Leo nodded and hit a button on the wall. Metal shields covered the windows, and the roof panels adjusted to block outside signals. The workshop became a silent fortress. "I'll go out and see who they are," Leo said. "I'm going with you," Kara replied. "No, you stay inside. If things go bad, hide in the lower storage room." "I'm not hiding," she said firmly. Leo gave her a look but didn't argue. He knew she wouldn't back down. They walked outside together and saw 2 tall bounty hunters step out of the ships. One was a bulky alien with silver armor, and the other was a slim human woman with glowing goggles. The woman raised a scanner. "We're looking for a missing girl. Alien, teenage, hybrid tech. Very valuable." Leo crossed his arms. "Never seen anyone like that around here." The alien stepped forward. "We traced her signal. It came from this area." Kara stayed behind Leo, keeping her face low. The human bounty hunter narrowed her eyes. "We'll search the place." "No, you won't," Leo said calmly. "This is private property. You need colony permission to enter." The alien didn't care. He stepped toward Kara, sensing something was off. In a flash, Kara raised her hand. A blast of energy hit the ground between them, sending dust into the air. The alien roared and charged. Leo jumped in, pulling a shock baton from his belt. He slammed it into the alien's arm, making sparks fly. The alien growled and swung back, knocking Leo to the ground. Kara stepped forward, her eyes glowing bright green. She sent a pulse through the air, shorting the alien's armor. He collapsed, twitching. The human woman aimed a small blaster, but Leo rolled and kicked it from her hand. Kara used her magnet control to rip the weapon apart mid-air. The bounty hunters were down, but not for long. "We have to leave now," Kara said. "They'll call for backup." Leo nodded. "Grab the tools. We're not coming back here." They rushed inside, packed quickly, and loaded everything important into the truck. Kara looked back at the workshop, the first place she had felt safe in a long time. "I liked it here," she whispered. Leo placed a hand on her shoulder. "We'll find another place. Somewhere better." As the truck lifted off and sped through the rocky paths, Kara sat in silence. Then she turned to Leo. You could have given me up. Let them take me. But you didn't. I'm not that kind of person, he said. Kara stared at him for a few seconds, then smiled. I think I trust you now. Leo gave her a quick glance. Good, because I think the real fight is just beginning. Behind them, smoke rose from the damaged workshop, and the bounty hunters slowly got back to their feet, angry and ready for revenge. The sky above Tyran 9 was dark and cloudy as Leo's hover truck moved through a quiet zone called Ashen Ridge. The place was full of old mining tunnels and rock towers. It was one of the few places left where scanners didn't work well. Leo knew the hunters wouldn't find them here, at least not right away. They stopped near an old shelter built into the side of a hill. The building was half broken, but the inside was dry and had power. Leo set up the lights, while Kara checked for any hidden cameras or signals. It's clear, she said after scanning. We can stay here for a night. Leo nodded. Good, we both need rest. They sat near a small heater. Outside, the wind howled through the rocks. Kara wrapped herself in a blanket and looked at Leo across the firelight. You've saved me more than once now, she said softly. I don't understand why. Leo didn't answer at first. He stirred a pot of simple stew and handed her a bowl. You were in trouble. That's enough reason for me. But I'm not normal, Kara said. I'm a failed experiment, a runaway. You could sell me for a fortune and no one would blame you. Leo looked at her seriously. You're not for sale, and you're not a failure. Kara stared at her bowl for a moment. Then she looked up. Can I tell you something strange? Leo raised an eyebrow. Sure. Kara hesitated. Her cheeks turned a faint shade of violet, a sign of emotion in her species. I think I have a crush on you, Leo blinked. He didn't know what to say at first. Kara rushed to explain. I don't mean to make things weird, it's just, no one has ever protected me. No one ever listened to me or cared how I felt. But you did. You made me feel safe. And important. Leo stayed quiet for a moment. Then he set his bowl down and leaned forward a little. Kara, I appreciate your honesty. And I care about you too. A lot. But you're still figuring things out. You've been running and surviving for a long time. Maybe this is the first time you've had a quiet moment to feel something real. She nodded, slowly. Yeah, maybe. Leo gave her a gentle smile. Whatever you feel, it's okay. But right now we need to focus on staying safe. Let's take it one step at a time. Kara smiled back, looking both shy and relieved. One step at a time. They ate quietly for a while. The moment had passed, but something had changed. There was more trust now, a stronger bond. After dinner, Leo worked on repairing a tracking blocker. Kara helped him, carefully connecting wires with her steady hands. You're really smart, Leo said. Smarter than most engineers I've met. I had to learn fast, she replied. But I like learning with you. As they finished the repair, the scanner beeped once, just once. A long-range signal was approaching, slow and steady. Kara's eyes narrowed. That's not a scrapper. That's something big. Leo checked the screen. It's a military signal, old code, but powerful. They're coming for me, Kara said, voice steady. Leo turned off the lights and packed the gear. Then we won't let them take you. Outside, the wind got stronger. Something was flying in from the sky, quiet, but heavy. The kind of ship used for high-level capture missions. Kara looked at Leo and whispered, I'm not scared anymore. Not when you're with me. Leo nodded. Good. Then let's show them we're not easy targets. Leo and Kara reached a wide area filled with broken machines, fallen towers, and heavy rusted weapons. The place was called Rust Valley, an old battlefield from a forgotten war. Leo had been here once before. It was dangerous, but it was also the perfect place for a trap. This place looks like a graveyard, Kara said, stepping over a rusted tank. That's why they won't expect us to fight here, Leo replied. He parked the hover truck behind a large fallen warbot and pulled, out a set of tools and wires. Kara watched him work, then joined in. They worked fast, setting up traps, rewiring old turrets, and turning dead machines into defenses. Kara used her implants to activate systems Leo couldn't. Together, they brought life back to machines that had slept for years. "Some of these bots still have power," she said. Leo smiled. "Let's make them our army." Hours passed, and soon the whole valley was a maze of hidden surprises. Explosive wires, motion traps, and auto-firing. Cannons were ready. Then they waited. Kara sat on top of a wrecked mech, looking at the sky. "They'll be here soon." Leo checked his scanner. "Get ready." A deep hum echoed across the sky. A black ship appeared above them, large and heavy like a beast. It landed at the edge of Rust Valley, and a group of elite hunters stepped out, tall, armored, and fully armed. One of them had a robotic voice. "Subject K7, surrender. You cannot win." Kara stood tall. "I'm not your subject. I'm not yours at all." The hunters moved forward. Leo gave the signal. The valley lit up. Old machines came to life. Guns aimed, turrets fired, traps exploded. The hunters were caught in chaos. One was thrown into the air by a blast. Another was pinned by a fallen bot. Kara leapt into action. She used her powers to lift metal and strike targets with magnetic pulses. Her eyes glowed with energy. She wasn't running this time. She was fighting. Leo handled the weapons from a control panel, keeping watch on her and firing at enemies that got too close. But the hunters were strong. One of them reached Kara and hit her with a stun blast. She fell to her knees, shaking. Leo ran to her, pulling her behind cover. "Are you okay?" he asked, holding her steady. "I can keep going," she said, breathing hard. "Just need a second." The final hunter, the leader, stepped forward. He aimed his weapon at them. Kara stood up. "No more running," she said. She raised both hands and released a massive energy wave. The machines around her hummed louder. Metal flew into the air, spinning like blades. The hunter's weapon was ripped from his hands. The machines targeted him and fired together. When the dust cleared, the leader was gone. Kara collapsed into Leo's arms. "You did it," he whispered. She smiled weakly. "We did it." Leo picked her up and walked toward the hover truck. The machines shut down one by one, the battle over. They had made their stand, and won. Back inside the truck, Kara lay on the seat, resting. Leo drove away from Rust Valley. As the sun began to rise, "I never knew I could fight like that," she said softly. "You're not just a weapon," Leo replied. "You're someone who chooses." Kara looked at him. "I chose to stay with you." Leo smiled. "Then let's go somewhere they can never find us." Together, they left the valley, not as fugitives, but as fighters who had taken their future into their own hands. The air was quiet as Leo's hover truck drove across the soft hills beyond Rust Valley. The stars above were slowly fading, and a golden light touched the edge of the horizon. Morning had come. Inside the truck, Kara rested with her head against the window. Her body was weak, her energy low, but her mind was calm. For the first time in her life, she felt like she had won something important. Not just a fight, but her freedom. Leo looked over at her. "You should rest more." Kara gave a small smile. "I don't want to miss the sunrise." They drove, until they reached a flat cliff that overlooked the old cities and the edge of the scrap fields. Leo stopped the truck and they both stepped out. The wind was soft here. The air smelled like iron and dust, but it felt peaceful. Kara sat on a rock and stared into the distance. "I never thought I'd see a sunrise without chains around my arms," she said. "All my life I was trained to obey orders. I was told I was just a tool, a machine with thoughts." Leo sat beside her. "But now you've made your own choice." She nodded. "Because of you." Leo shook his head. "You had the strength all along. I just helped you see it." Kara looked at him with quiet eyes. "Do you know what I really wanted when I escaped?" "What?" "I didn't want revenge or war. I just wanted someone to talk to, someone who saw me as a person. Leo didn't speak. He gently placed his hand over hers. You're not alone anymore, he said. They sat in silence for a while, watching the sky turn bright orange. Then Kara pulled a small device from her pocket. It was cracked and old with blinking lights. What's that? Leo asked. It's a transmitter, she said. It connects to the main network used by the group that made me. If I send the right signal, I can shut down the program. Every lab, every control unit, they'll lose access to the others like me. There are more? She nodded. I wasn't the only one, but I was the first to escape. If I send this signal, they'll all be free. Leo looked at her, surprised and proud. Are you sure you want to do this? Kara looked at the rising sun. Yes. She pressed the button. A soft pulse went out. Silent, invisible, but powerful. Somewhere across the galaxy, systems failed. Control centers went dark, and other hybrids like Kara felt their chains break. Kara closed her eyes. It's done. Leo smiled. You didn't just save yourself. You gave others a chance too. Kara looked at him again, this time with tears in her eyes. You gave me that strength. I didn't even know what kindness was. Until you showed me. Leo wiped her cheek gently. You've got a whole life ahead now. What do you want to do next? She laughed softly. I want to see stars, fly through the clouds, maybe build my own ship, and I want to stay with you. Leo nodded. Then, we'll do it together. They walked back to the truck hand in hand. The world was still broken in many places and danger would always exist, but now they had something stronger than weapons or power. They had each other. As the hover truck lifted off and flew into the morning light, Kara looked back one last time at the junk-covered planet. Then she smiled. She wasn't a subject anymore. She was free, and she was more than a weapon.